We can shake hand, fight. If I lose, I'll give him $500,000. If I beat him, he's gonna give me $500,000.
Arman Tsarukyan has challenged Ilia Topuria to a high-stakes $500,000 bet, putting his own money on the line. He said if he loses, Ilia gets the full amount, but if he wins, he expects Ilia to pay him the same. Arman made it clear he's ready to lock it in, confident they can shake hands and settle it in the cage.
So no big bets from your own pockets?
No, I can put the bets. I can put like a $500,000 if he beat me. If I beat him, he's gonna give me $500,000. So I can put it that.
Okay, so he's willing to make handshake bet.
If he wants to make that, so I'm down, and we can shake hand, fight. If I lose, I'll give him $500,000. If I beat him, he's gonna give me $500,000.
Arman Tsarukyan pointed out that while Ilia Topuria is a solid boxer, he doesn't see him as a complete MMA fighter. Arman said Ilia's main strength is his boxing, but outside of that, he lacks the versatility needed at the highest level. In contrast, Arman sees himself as far more well-rounded, with effective kicks, knees, wrestling setups, cage control, and grappling. He believes his all-around MMA skill set is on another level compared to Ilia's.
What do you see the holes in Ilia's game? Because Ilia looks like most people, if you're just watching him now, you think he's a striker, but he came into MMA as a grappler. But what are the holes you see in his game? I'm curious.
I mean, he's a good striker. Not good striker, he's a good boxer. But I feel like myself, I'm a better like MMA fighter than him, because I have I'm more skilled than him. I got good kicks, knees, you know, like wrestling setup, boxing with wrestling against the cage, grappling, everything. He has just good boxing, and that's all.
Arman Tsarukyan broke down how he would approach a fight with Ilia Topuria. He said the key is to pressure Ilia, take him down, and wear him out with wrestling, because Ilia tends to gas out quickly in grappling exchanges. Arman warned that trying to strike with Ilia plays into his pace, and the only way to beat him is to break that rhythm and force scrambles that drain his energy.
I feel like you gotta just keep pressure him, take him down, make him tired, because he's gas out so fast with the wrestling. If you're just gonna stay and try to box him, it's not gonna work it, because it's his pace, you know, and you gotta break it, you gotta make him tired. Like if you watch like fights where he wrestled, he got tired and so fast, and that's why we gotta make that scramble.
Arman Tsarukyan also went off on Paddy Pimblett and slammed the UFC rankings. He challenged the UFC to remove Paddy Pimblett from the rankings, arguing he doesn't belong in the top 10. He pointed out that Paddy's last 3 wins came over opponents with multiple losses, and called it crazy that such a record could lead to a title shot.
You gotta delete him from the rankings. Even he's not even deserved to be in top 10. He beat last 3 guys. It was Chandler, he had 3 losses. It was Bobby Green, he had 4 losses. It was Tony Ferguson, he had 8 losses. That's crazy. And like, you wanna bring that guy to fight for the title?
Oh, there's the graphic right there. There it is.
He comes prepared. Tsarukyan does his homework for sure, man. You're a smart guy.
That's crazy. 3-0, 8-0, 2-0.
Oh, that's pretty bad when you put it that way. That's receipts.
When asked if Arman felt disrespected by Paddy Pimblett, potentially jumping the line for a title shot against Ilia Topuria, Arman Tsarukyan said no official decision had been made. He clarified that the UFC was still figuring out whether it would be him, Gaethje, or Paddy who gets the shot, but reminded everyone that he's currently the #1 contender, so it should be him.
Do you feel any type of disrespected by Paddy Pimblett kind of jumping that line a little bit and getting that Ilia Topuria shot?
I mean, he's not. Nobody said he's getting the title shot.
Okay.
So they still figuring out who is fighting for the title, me, Gaethje, or Paddy. But I know if if they gotta put me because I'm #1 contender right now.
Meanwhile, Paddy Pimblett also mocked Arman Tsarukyan, saying no one cares about him despite being a good fighter. He accused Arman of talking big, but backing down when it comes to Islam Makhachev. Paddy said everyone knows Justin Gaethje is a real banger and a legend, unlike Arman, and added that he'd love to fight another legend like Gaethje.
Are you having conversation with the UFC about maybe a Gaethje fight or maybe a Tsarukyan
And I'd
fight?
fight anyone, as you know, I'm not asked. Just Arman's a very good fighter, but no one cares about him. You know what I mean? People just look at him and think, yeah, you shit yourself to fight in Islam. You talk a big game, but you don't back it up. But everyone knows Justin Gaethje's a fucking banger. You know what I mean? Everyone knows that if you're fighting Justin Gaethje, you're gonna have a fight. So, and he's a legend. You know what I mean? Arman isn't. So I'd love to fight another legend than Justin Gaethje.
Paddy Pimblett also claimed the biggest fight the UFC can make now is him versus Ilia Topuria. With John Jones retired and a matchup with Tom Aspinall off the table, Paddy said he wouldn't be surprised if he won the belt within the next 6 to 12 months.
Now that John Jones is retired, I think it's the biggest fight the UFC can make. Me versus Ilia. Now there's no John Jones and he can't do him versus Tom. It wouldn't surprise me if I've got the belt in 6 to 12 months.
Similarly, Ilia Topuria firmly dismissed the idea of defending his title against Arman Tsarukyan. He said Arman still needed to prove himself against other contenders and questioned whether he could even be trusted to make it to the fight. Topuria made it clear he had no interest in giving Arman a title shot and claimed he'd rather give up the belt than accept that matchup.
Listen, when you put so much effort in the game and you have a guy in front who you don't know that maybe he could pull out from the fight, that's not something good for us. It's not on my back, bro. I don't care. They're gonna give him a fight before the title shot because there is no way. I'm the world champion. I'm never gonna give him a chance to fight for the title. I will be like, listen, if that's the case, take my belt. I don't do it.
However, Arman Tsarukyan brutally trolled Ilia Topuria after the lightweight champ vowed never to give him a title shot, even if he became the #1 contender. Arman laughed off the comments, mocking Ilia's refusal and suggesting it only proved he was scared. He hinted that Topuria knew what would happen if they ever shared the cage.
Ilia, stop running, Ilia. Stop running, Ilia. Good boy. I'll make it quick, no worries. Good boy.
Arman Tsarukyan said Ilia Topuria must beat him to be considered on the same level as Islam Makhachev. He argued that Ilia had only faced easier opponents and noted that while Ilia did beat legitimate names, none were in their prime. Arman claimed that if Ilia had fought Alexander Volkanovski 4 or 5 years ago, Volkanovski would have dominated him. Arman Tsarukyan stated, if he beats me, he's gonna be on the same level as Islam. He's gotta beat someone like me, you know, someone who can wrestle. He's had easy fights in his career. Yeah, he beat legit fighters, but not in their prime. If he faced Volkanovski 5 years ago, 4 years ago, Volkanovski would have eaten him. Arman Tsarukyan said that if he doesn't get a title shot next, the UFC will likely offer him Justin Gaethje, Paddy Pimblett, or Dan Hooker. He said all 3 were good matchups for him, but singled out Gaethje as a strong striker who used to wrestle. Still, Arman expressed full confidence and referred to any of those fights as easy money.
Where do you see, obviously ideally you fight for the belt next, but if that doesn't happen, how do you see the chips falling? What's the most probable outcome you think they're going to offer you next?
I mean, if it's not title fight, it's probably Gaethje,
Yeah.
or Pimblett or Hooker. I don't know.
How do you see the fight going with Gaethje? Like, how do you match up against everybody? Yeah, go ahead.
With Gaethje, it's a good fight. He's a good striker, but he used to be wrestler, so now he strikes more. But I mean, it's good fight for me. All of them is good fight for me, so it's easy money.
Arman Tsarukyan made it clear he's not waiting around for a title shot. He said he wants to fight for the belt as soon as possible because he's earned his spot and no one deserves it more. Arman added that the UFC needs to make the fight happen now, as he's ready and fully deserving of the opportunity.
Are you like not in a huge rush right now, mostly because you also know you kind of deserve the next shot, but you're not in a rush because you have a lot of time to develop? And a lot of the people at the top of the lightweight division are a little bit older. They're coming to the end of their careers, like Poirier right now, you know, Max. Where do you think you fall in a few years? Like, are you not in a huge hurry right now because you are so much younger than the rest of the division? How do you see him phasing out?
No, I'm in a hurry. I wanna fight for the title as soon as possible because I deserve it, my spot, and I'm here, and nobody can take it because nobody deserves it more than me to fight for the title.
I saw
right now. It's they gotta make the fight. I gotta fight for the title.
However, Arman Tsarukyan also talked about the possibility of him moving up to the 170 weight class. Arman said he isn't ready to move to 170 just yet, but hinted at a future showdown with Islam Makhachev. He explained that his focus right now is to become champion at 155 and defend the belt a few times before considering a move up. If Islam drops down in the future, Arman said he'd be waiting for him.
Would you want to go up to 170?
No. I would wait him to come down because at least I gotta get champion and do a couple defense and 155, and then I can think. But my weight, I'm not. I feel like I'm not ready for 170 yet.
Paddy has always been a big hater of Arman and never missed any opportunity to mock him. Earlier, he lashed out at Arman for missing the fight against Islam at UFC 311. He called him a spoiled rich kid who had everything handed to him and ridiculed him for backing out, claiming he completely folded under pressure.
He's just a little posh boy who's had everything handed to him on a silver platter by his dad.
Do you think he actually got injured or no? Or what do you think happened?
No, he's a little ass. Dana shot him down in that interview. I was like, whoa.
You miss opportunities sometimes. And he did.
Arman, you shit your pants. Know what I mean? That's what you did. You farted and followed through, and had shit coming down your leg.
Arman Tsarukyan shared that while he respects Paddy Pimblett's skills, he doesn't believe Paddy can beat elite fighters in their prime. In Arman's view, Paddy might succeed against veterans who are past their best or fighters coming off losses. But when it comes to facing top-level active contenders like himself, Ilia Topuria, or Islam Makhachev, he doesn't think Paddy stands a real chance.
Do you think Paddy's good, or do you think he's just hype that's gonna fizzle out at some point, or do you think he's legit?
He's legit. He's legit, but not like a top 5 fighter level. He can beat like a Charles maybe now, because nowadays he can beat Charles. He can beat maybe Gagey, but he never gonna beat Topuria, me, or Islam, you know, who is on the prime right now. He can beat the people who is almost retired or lost fights, you know.
On the other hand, Arman Tsarukyan also made it clear that he has no doubts about beating Ilia Topuria. He's confident that his complete skill set, especially his dominant wrestling, would completely neutralize Ilia's offense. Arman wants to expose the hype and prove that Ilia isn't on his level, that when it comes to real all-around MMA, he's simply in a different league. Arman Tsarukyan said, "I'm just gonna take him down, hold him, maul him, and finish him on the ground. He's not going to be able to escape from me. The wrestling and takedowns are the key. My kicks, my wrestling, my ground and pound, my strength, my boxing. He's good at one thing, boxing. But me? Wrestling, kicks, ground and pound, control, timing. I mean, 4 versus 1. Who's gonna win? If you don't stay in his boxing range, how's he gonna beat you? I don't know." Meanwhile, Alexander Volkanovski talked about this matchup and believes the key to beating Ilia Topuria is to push him into deep waters and test his gas tank. He pointed out that Ilia hasn't really been pushed to his limits yet and questioned whether he can handle a tough, grinding fight. Volk suggested that non-stop wrestling and forcing Ilia to work for every moment could be the strategy that finally breaks him.
Tell us, so what's the strategy against a guy like Ilia? Let's say you guys run it back again.
Wrestle the bloke, mate.
You gotta get him, get him down, right?
Down. Look, that's what you want. You want to see what's going to happen with his gas tank. So even with Ilia, Great fighter. Like even a lot of the things he does, like I'm sure a lot of it's well trained, and then he's got so many good instincts as well. Like even him just shifting that way, he's probably trained for that, but then just as soon as he wanted to square his hips up with the right hand, the power was there and put him in a safer position while he was throwing too. So just little things like that he probably trains for, or it's just great instincts. But yeah, we want to see the gas tank, see what happens with that, because I thought Charles, when he was taking him down and forcing the sort of wrestle and the grapple, I felt like it was starting to wear on him a little bit.
Daniel Cormier also threw his full support behind Arman Tsarukyan, making it clear that he's the rightful top contender for the next lightweight title shot. Cormier firmly believes no one else in the division, neither Paddy Pimblett nor Justin Gaethje, has a stronger case than Arman. According to DC, Arman has already proven himself against elite competition and consistently stayed near the top of the rankings. He sees Arman as the most deserving and legitimate challenger, someone who has truly earned his opportunity to fight for the belt.
I don't understand how anyone in this weight class can say that they should get a title shot over Arman Tsarukyan. He was the #1 contender for the last year. He was in line to fight for the belt in Los Angeles, and then it didn't happen. It was because his back went out, right? Some people were saying it was a weight issue. Well, today he stepped on the scale as a backup fighter and looked in phenomenal shape. It just feels like Arman Tsarukyan should be next to fight for the championship.
Javier Mendez believes Arman Tsarukyan is the only real threat to Ilia Topuria at lightweight. He pointed out that Arman wouldn't just stand and strike, but would mix in relentless grappling, which could push Ilia in ways he hasn't experienced yet. While Javier praised Ilia's skills, especially how he defended Charles Oliveira's takedown attempts, he still feels that Arman's constant pressure, wrestling, and top control might present the toughest challenge Ilia will ever face in the division.
Arman Tsarukyan would be the one that, in my opinion, might give him the most problems, because Arman's not going to stand with him. Arman's going to make it a grappling war. So it's going to be a war of nutrition. Can Ilia survive the continuous ground attack that Arman's going to put on him? And that would be the test. Can he do that? I don't know. Maybe he can. I mean, look what he did to Charles. Charles came in for the takedown. He freaking switched it on him midair. That was very impressive.
Demetrius Johnson also weighed in and made it clear that he doesn't see Ilia Topuria attempting to wrestle with Arman Tsarukyan at all. In his view, Ilia will aim to keep the fight on his feet and look for a quick knockout rather than engaging in any grappling exchanges. Demetrius believes Ilia has no interest in proving himself on the ground and is more focused on putting on highlight reel finishes. To him, Ilia's approach is simple: knock opponents out fast, make a statement, and move on to the next challenge.
I don't think he's just going to risk going into where Arman's good just to prove a point.
No, I think he's going to knock Arman out. I don't think he cares to wrestle with anybody. I think he's going to get himself to the right spot and try to knock everybody out.
Meanwhile, Arman Tsarukyan recently talked about the training conditions for MMA fighters. He praised Dagestan as the top place in the world for MMA training. He said half the population trains in the sport and claimed that if more Dagestani fighters entered the UFC, up to 8 could become champions. He contrasted this with Georgia, where MMA is still developing, but noted its strong wrestling, judo, and boxing culture.
#1, the MMA players who trains in Dagestan, 50% of people trains MMA. And if you let them to fight in UFC, maybe 8 of them is gonna be from Dagestan champions, because there's so much good fighters there and they train every day and a lot of people. But in Georgia it's just new, and Mirab, he came from he became a good fighter in US. Ilia, he became a good from Spain, but in Georgia it's still a new sport, and I feel like Mirab or Ilia, after when they retired, they gotta open good gyms there, because in Georgia very good, one of the best wrestlers, one of the best judo guys, good boxing, they like sports. So in the future from Georgia can be so much good fighters.
So, this is all we have from today's video, and hopefully you enjoyed it. Share your thoughts about this matchup in the comments section, and subscribe to our channel to get more updates about the UFC encounters.